You believe you are thinking about wealth. You say to yourself, I want more. I dream of freedom. I hope for success. But in truth, what you hold is not thought, it is a wish. And wishes have no power. They are clouds in the sky, beautiful to look at, but they vanish with the first wind. This is the first and most common mistake, to confuse idle wishing with creative thought. Thought is not daydreaming. Thought is not vague desire. True thought, the kind that builds fortune, is focused, burning, and alive with purpose. Without this energy, your mind drifts in fantasies that never materialize. Napoleon Hill declared that all achievement begins with an idea, but not every idea becomes achievement. Why? Because most men leave their ideas in the realm of wish. They think casually, they hope weakly, and they expect circumstances to do the work for them. But the universe does not obey the wishful. It responds only to those who transform thought into belief and belief into action. Consider the thousands who say, I want to be rich. They imagine mansions, cars, and luxury, yet their daily choices betray their words. They spend more than they earn. They waste their prime hours in distraction. They settle for security over growth. Their wish never hardens into conviction. Their wish never drives them into discipline. And so they end life empty-handed, remembering only what they once hoped for. Now compare them with the man who does not merely wish but thinks with intensity. His idea is not casual. It seizes him. He repeats it day after day until it engraves itself into his subconscious. He believes it as surely as the rising sun. He does not say, I wish I could succeed. He declares, I will succeed. My thoughts create wealth. My vision is real. That conviction alters his decisions. That conviction fuels his actions. And those actions carve wealth into reality. Look at Henry Ford. In his age, the idea of building a motor car for ordinary people was ridiculous. Experts said impossible. Financiers laughed. Scholars dismissed him. If his idea had remained a wish, it would have died in the smoke of skepticism. But Ford turned his wish into definite thought, and his thought into belief. He said, I will build a car for the multitude. He repeated it, he envisioned it, he believed it until the world itself was bent into agreement. His fortune did not arise from chance but from thought hardened into conviction. Now ask yourself, what ideas live in your mind? Are they sharp and alive, or soft and vague? Do you treat your desires as commands to the universe, or as idle fantasies to entertain you at night? Every day you allow your desires to remain mere wishes, you waste the most powerful force in existence, your own mind. This is the brutal truth, wishing is weakness. Thinking with purpose is power. Wishing drifts. Thinking creates. Wishing excuses. Thinking commands. You must train yourself to think as a creator, not as a dreamer. When you catch yourself saying, I wish, replace it with, I will. When you catch yourself hoping vaguely, replace it with a vision vivid and precise. Write it down. Declare it aloud. See it in your mind until it feels inevitable. Say this aloud now, I believe my thoughts create wealth. My vision is real, and my future obeys my mind. Repeat it daily until it burns into your subconscious. Let it shape your actions, fuel your discipline, and draw resources to your cause. The world does not reward the wishful. It rewards the decisive thinker. Do not let your decades slip away in dreams that never rise above the level of wish. Transform your thoughts into commands. Transform your commands into habits. Transform your habits into wealth. For this is the first law of success, what you think with conviction, you become. And if you will not rise above wishing, you will never rise at all. You think you have a plan. You write goals, you imagine freedom, you picture wealth. But deep inside, a quiet voice whispers, not you. You are not ready. You are not worthy. You cannot. And so your thoughts collapse before they even begin. This is the second great mistake, to think without believing. Thought alone is powerful only when it is supported by conviction. But thought without belief is like planting seeds in barren soil. No matter how many you scatter, nothing grows. Napoleon Hill called belief by its true name, faith. Faith is not vague religion, nor blind optimism. It is the state of mind that transforms ordinary thoughts into burning desires, and burning desires into reality. Without it, your thoughts remain shadows. With it, they become commands to destiny. Consider the man who has ideas but doubts himself. He dreams of a business but thinks, it will never work for me. He wants to invest but says, I will probably fail. He plans to speak boldly but whispers, what if they laugh? His doubt poisons every step. His actions are half-hearted, his results weak, his future empty. The world senses his lack of belief. No one trusts a man who does not even trust himself. Now look at Andrew Carnegie. He was not born into wealth. He began in poverty, working in a factory. But he believed with unshakable conviction that he would rise. His faith attracted allies, opportunities, and resources. His belief was so strong that others borrowed it. Men followed him because he radiated certainty. His thought did not remain fragile, it was reinforced by belief so powerful that the world itself had to yield. Understand this, belief is magnetic. Your thoughts are signals, but belief is the electricity that gives them power. Without belief, your signals are weak, ignored by life. With belief, your signals blaze, and fortune cannot resist them. But belief is not given to you, you must build it. Every time you persist despite fear, your belief strengthens. Every time you act despite doubt, your faith grows. Every time you declare success as inevitable, your subconscious moves closer to accepting it as law. Affirmations are not empty words. They are training for your subconscious. When you declare, I deserve wealth. I create wealth. My thoughts shape my destiny, you are reprogramming your deepest self. With repetition, your mind accepts it as truth. And once accepted, belief transforms into fact. Think of Thomas Edison. He failed thousands of times in his experiments. Each failure could have been proof of weakness, a reason to surrender. But Edison believed. He said, I have not failed. I have found thousands of ways that do not work. His faith was greater than defeat. His belief converted thought into invention, invention into wealth, and wealth into legacy. Now ask yourself, do you truly believe? Not casually, not weakly, but with a conviction that shapes every decision. Because if you doubt, your doubt will sabotage you. If you hesitate, your hesitation will betray you. If you believe, truly believe, your thoughts will move mountains. Say this aloud now, I deserve wealth. I believe in my ability to create it. My faith makes my thoughts unstoppable. Speak it until your subconscious bows to it. Let it fuel your courage, empower your actions, and command your destiny. This is the law, the world does not respond to your hopes. It responds to your beliefs. You will never receive more than you believe you are worthy of. And when you expand your belief, you expand your fortune. Do not live another day with thoughts weakened by doubt. Transform your thoughts into burning convictions. For belief is the difference between men who drift into regret and men who rise into destiny. You rise early, you work hard, you chase tasks, you even speak of goals, but deep inside, you cannot answer the most important question, what is my one clear purpose? This is the third fatal mistake, to live without definiteness of purpose. Without purpose, your energy scatters. Without purpose, your talents dilute. Without purpose, your years vanish into a fog of activity that leads nowhere. Napoleon Hill declared that definiteness of purpose is the starting point of all achievement. A man without it is like a ship at sea without a rudder, tossed by every current, blown by every wind, drifting endlessly. He may look busy, he may burn fuel, he may move constantly, but he never arrives. Look at the average man in his 30s and 40s. He works long hours, but toward what? He answers every demand, but toward where? He earns money, but spends it just as quickly. Ask him his chief aim, and he hesitates. He has dozens of small wants, but no great, commanding vision. And so his life is scattered across errands, consumed by distractions, buried in busyness. His decades vanish, and at 50 he wonders why nothing substantial was built. Now compare this with the man of definite purpose. His aim is clear, written, and alive. He does not waste his hours on tasks that do not serve it. He does not confuse activity with advancement. Every decision bends toward his aim, every sacrifice feeds it, every act builds it. His purpose becomes a magnet, drawing people, opportunities, and resources. Others feel his clarity. They trust him, follow him, and invest in him. Henry Ford is the living proof. He was not merely a mechanic among thousands. His definite purpose to build a motorcar for the multitude made him unstoppable. Every hour of his labor, every ounce of his imagination, every decision he made bent toward that purpose. His definiteness turned him from an obscure mechanic into the architect of an industry. Abraham Lincoln also carried such a purpose. He faced countless defeats, endured ridicule, suffered loss. Yet his chief aim, to preserve the Union and to end slavery, never wavered. Each speech, each campaign, each decision aligned with that aim. His defeats were not wasted, they became preparation. His clarity gave him authority, and his authority preserved a nation. Understand this, the world does not crown the man who wants success. The world crowns the man who declares exactly what he will achieve and bends his life toward it. Vague desires dissolve. Definite aims harden into destiny. Do not deceive yourself. Saying "I want to be rich" is not a definite purpose. Wealth is a byproduct, not a goal. Your purpose must be precise and emotionally charged. It must compel you to act. It must be strong enough to endure defeat, temptation, and delay. Without that, your thoughts drift. With it, your thoughts carve reality. So ask yourself now, what is your definite chief aim? What one outcome commands your life? Write it. Speak it. Repeat it daily until it engraves itself upon your subconscious. Say this aloud: I have a definite purpose. I know where I am going. Every action bends toward my aim. Speak it until you feel conviction rise. Let it filter your choices. Let it command your discipline. Let it burn into your very soul. This is the law: men without purpose serve those who have one. Men without aim labor for wages. Men with aim command wealth. Do not waste your prime decades scattering your strength across meaningless pursuits. Define your aim, and the world will bend to it. For definiteness of purpose is the bridge between thought and wealth, between dream and empire, between a wasted life and a crowned destiny. You set a goal. You feel excitement. You declare, "This time I will change." But then comfort whispers, fatigue presses, distraction tempts, and within days you are back where you started. Your dream did not fail. Your belief did not fail. Your discipline failed. This is the fourth fatal mistake: to live without self-discipline. Discipline is the iron that binds thought to action, action to habit, and habit to destiny. Without it, even the clearest purpose dissolves. Without it, even the strongest belief weakens. Without it, even the most brilliant imagination turns to fantasy. Napoleon Hill declared that self-discipline is the master key to personal power. It is the ability to control your thoughts, direct your emotions, and command your actions. The undisciplined man is not free, he is a slave. A slave to his impulses, his moods, his excuses. He may dream boldly, but his life proves nothing, because his will collapses at the first test. Think of the man who promises himself a new routine. He vows to rise early, but the alarm rings and he sleeps. He vows to save money, but the impulse to spend wins. He vows to build a business, but distractions steal his hours. His life is a pattern of broken promises. His subconscious accepts that he cannot be trusted, and the world accepts it too. His aura dims, his influence shrinks, his fortune evaporates. Now contrast him with Thomas Edison. Do you think his thousands of experiments were fueled by sudden bursts of inspiration? No. They were the product of relentless discipline. Day after day, night after night, he persisted with method, focus, and rigor. His genius was not only imagination but the discipline that made his imagination real. Without discipline, his ideas would have remained idle sketches. With discipline, his ideas lit the world. Discipline is not punishment, it is protection. It is the shield that guards your purpose from laziness, excuses, and fear. It is the habit of doing what you must, not only when you feel like it, but especially when you do not. Andrew Carnegie understood this. He rose from poverty to command steel not by bursts of effort but by disciplined habits of learning, serving, and focusing. He aligned his daily actions with his definite aim. He refused to scatter his strength. His discipline made his rise inevitable. Understand this, discipline begins with small victories. The decision to rise when you promised yourself. The choice to finish what you began. The habit of working on your purpose before allowing the world to distract you. Each victory compounds. Each choice builds strength. And soon, discipline becomes your nature. Say this aloud: my discipline protects my purpose. My actions obey my decisions, not my emotions. Each day I grow stronger, and my habits build my wealth. Speak it until your subconscious accepts it. Let it guide you when comfort whispers, when fatigue presses, when fear says wait. Mark this truth: discipline is freedom. The man without discipline is shackled by weakness. The man with discipline commands himself, and therefore commands the world. Do not let your decades dissolve in broken promises. Forge your discipline now. For the man who masters himself becomes unstoppable. And the man who refuses discipline, no matter his talents, will never rise. You work hard. You repeat routines. You follow rules. Yet your life looks the same year after year. Why? Because you lack imagination. You are trapped by what you can see, touch, and measure. You believe only in what exists now, not in what could exist tomorrow. And so you live inside a prison built of present circumstances. This is the fifth fatal mistake: weak imagination. Without imagination, thought has no wings. Without imagination, belief has no blueprint. Without imagination, discipline builds nothing but repetition. Napoleon Hill declared that imagination is the workshop of the mind. It is where desire takes shape, where faith becomes form, where purpose transforms into a plan. Every fortune, every empire, every invention that ever existed was first imagined in a mind. Edison saw the glowing lamp long before it existed. Ford saw cars on every street when others saw only horses. Carnegie saw steel bridges spanning nations before the first beam was forged. They imagined what did not yet exist and then built it. Now look at the man without imagination. He copies others. He waits for opportunities already visible to the crowd. He settles for wages, follows orders, and repeats yesterday's patterns. He may be diligent, but he never creates. He may be busy, but he never multiplies. His decades vanish in service of men whose imaginations command him. Contrast this with the man of vivid imagination. He does not wait for the world to show him proof. He creates pictures in his mind so clear, so compelling, that his subconscious accepts them as truth. He lives inside the vision before it is real. And because he believes it, he acts as if it already exists. His actions bend reality toward his vision until the world itself reshapes to match it. Think again of Henry Ford. Experts mocked him. Financiers refused him. Scholars dismissed him. Why? Because they could not see what he saw. But Ford's imagination was not fantasy. It was a blueprint. He envisioned the car for the multitude so vividly that every decision, every experiment, every sacrifice aligned with it. His imagination guided him until steel, rubber, and gasoline obeyed his mind. Understand this: your imagination is not idle dreaming. It is rehearsal. Athletes use it. Leaders use it. Inventors use it. They picture success until their nerves, their muscles, their very being accept it as reality. The subconscious cannot tell the difference between a vividly imagined event and a real one. When you imagine clearly, you program your destiny. But weak imagination is dangerous. If you picture failure, if you rehearse rejection, if you dwell on poverty, your subconscious accepts that too. Many men sabotage themselves by imagining loss before they act. Their thoughts become prisons. Their fears become reality. They prove themselves right by imagining the worst. You must seize your imagination and command it. Each day, close your eyes and picture your definite purpose already fulfilled. See the details. Feel the emotions. Hear the sounds of success. Let it become so real in your mind that you cannot help but act to create it. Say this aloud: my imagination builds my future. I see wealth, I see success, I see freedom, and I act to create it. Speak it until your inner vision sharpens. Repeat it until your subconscious believes it. Then let it guide your decisions, fuel your persistence, and shape your destiny. This is the law: the poor man allows his imagination to shrink, and his world shrinks with it. The rich man enlarges his imagination until the world expands to match it. Do not waste another year trapped by present circumstances. Free your mind to picture what does not yet exist. Because imagination is the bridge between thought and wealth, between today's limits and tomorrow's empire. You begin with fire. You make plans. You tell yourself, this time, I will not fail. You start strong. But then the road grows long. The work grows heavy. Results delay. Criticism rises. Doubt whispers. And what do? You quit. This is the sixth fatal mistake: quitting too soon. It is the mistake that ruins more destinies than ignorance, poverty, or bad luck combined. Because the truth is this: success rarely comes quickly. Fortune rarely appears at the first knock. Destiny tests you. It asks, how much do you want this? How long will you endure? Will you persist when others would surrender? And most men fail the test. Napoleon Hill warned that quitting becomes a habit. The first time you surrender, it feels justified. The second time is easier. By the third, you do not even resist. Quitting becomes your reflex. By your 40s, your aura radiates surrender. Men sense it. Opportunity flees. Life itself distrusts you. Think of R.U. Darby. He and his uncle chased gold. They found ore, invested money, bought machinery. Hope rose. But the vein disappeared. They drilled a little longer, then surrendered. They sold everything to a junk man and walked away. That junk man brought in an engineer who discovered the gold lay only 3 feet from where the Darbys stopped. They quit 3 feet from fortune. But Darby learned. He carried the lesson into business, vowing never again to stop short. He built persistence into his nature and created a fortune greater than the gold he lost. His defeat became his teacher. But only because he refused to repeat the mistake. Now compare him to the man who never learns. At 30, he starts a business, quits when sales are slow. At 35, he tries another, quits again. At 40, he begins a new project, abandons it at the first obstacle. By 50, he has mastered nothing. He has built only excuses. His name is forgotten. Contrast him with Abraham Lincoln. He faced defeat after defeat, lost elections, lost money, lost health, lost love. Yet he refused to quit. Each blow deepened his persistence. His aura grew steady, his faith unbreakable. When the nation trembled, it followed him because he had proved himself through endurance. Henry Ford faced ridicule, lawsuits, financial collapse. But he refused surrender. He persisted until even his enemies could not stop him. His persistence turned mockery into empire. Understand this: temporary defeat is not failure. Failure is quitting. Falling is not failure. Staying down is. Every man will meet obstacles. Every purpose will be tested. The difference between those who rise and those who rot is simple: one persists, the other surrenders. You must engrave persistence into your nature. When fatigue presses, persist. When doubt whispers, persist. When defeat strikes, persist. Each act of persistence strengthens your aura. Each refusal to quit proves you worthy of fortune. Say this aloud: I persist until victory is mine. Delay cannot break me. Defeat cannot define me. I rise every time I fall. Speak it until it becomes instinct. Let it guide you when temptation says stop, when fear says wait, when critics say quit. This is the law: fortune is not cruel. It is cautious. It rewards only those who prove themselves through persistence. If you withdraw, it concludes you are unworthy. If you endure, it yields. Do not quit 3 feet from gold. Do not waste decades in half-built dreams and abandoned plans. Build the habit of persistence now. Because the man who persists shapes fortune, and the man who quits shapes regret. You pride yourself on independence. You say, I do not need anyone. I will carry this burden alone. I will build my fortune by myself. You refuse counsel. You mistrust partnerships. You isolate yourself, believing secrecy is strength. But in truth, you are nothing more than a lone candle trembling in the wind. This is the 7th fatal mistake: isolation. The man who tries to climb alone climbs slowly. The man who tries to fight alone falls quickly. The man who insists he needs no allies condemns himself to smallness. For the law of success is harmony, and the law of power is alliance. Napoleon Hill called it the mastermind principle: when 2 or more minds unite in harmony toward a definite aim, a third invisible mind is created, a power greater than the sum of its parts. Alone, your light flickers. United, your light blazes. Alone, your ideas are limited. United, your ideas multiply. Alone, your strength is fragile. United, your strength is irresistible. Consider Andrew Carnegie. He admitted openly that his wealth did not spring from his hands alone. He built alliances with engineers, financiers, and organizers. Their combined force built an empire of steel. Without them, Carnegie would have remained another ambitious worker. With them, he became one of the richest men of his age. Think also of Henry Ford. His stubbornness was famous, but even he drew strength from alliances. His friendship with Thomas Edison fueled him when others mocked his vision. Their combined belief amplified each man's power. Ford did not invent alone, he multiplied his vision through allies who shared his aim. That is why his car filled the world while thousands of lone mechanics vanished in obscurity. Now contrast this with the isolated man. He insists, I cannot trust anyone. Fear blinds him. He says, I am too busy to build alliances. Busyness enslaves him. He says, I am strong enough alone. Pride deceives him. And so he labors, flickering like a candle, while others form bonfires that command destiny. Understand this: alliances must be chosen with care. Harmony is not built with cynics, complainers, or doubters. Their dim aura weakens yours. Better one faithful ally than a crowd of drifters. Your mastermind must be composed of men of faith, of persistence, of definite purpose. Guard harmony fiercely, for one discordant voice can shatter the symphony. Look at Abraham Lincoln. His cabinet was filled with rivals, men of sharp differences. Yet under his definite aim, their combined strength carried a divided nation. Lincoln's aura was magnified by this alliance. Without them, he would have been crushed. With them, he preserved the Union. Say this aloud: I unite with chosen allies. Together, our harmony multiplies our power. Our combined radiance bends events to our will. Speak it until your pride softens, until your fear dissolves, until you feel the strength of many flowing through you. Mark this truth: isolation diminishes, harmony multiplies. Alone, you may shine bravely, but you cannot withstand the storm. United, you blaze so brightly that no storm can extinguish you. Do not waste your decades trembling as a lone candle. Build your mastermind. Choose allies who share your purpose. Share your vision, meet often, encourage one another, hold each other accountable. This simple habit may multiply your fortune more than any solitary effort ever could. The world does not remember the lone candle. It remembers the bonfire that lit the path. Do not isolate yourself. Unite. For destiny crowns not the man who insists on walking alone, but the man who multiplies his strength through harmony. You rise early. You hurry from task to task. Your schedule is full, your hands are busy, your days are long. At night you collapse, exhausted, certain that your labor must mean progress. Yet look closely, your position has not changed. Your fortune has not grown. Your destiny has not advanced. Why? Because you have mistaken busyness for achievement. This is the eighth fatal mistake, to confuse motion with progress. Busyness feels productive. It gives you the narcotic of importance. But without direction, busyness is only drift disguised as diligence. You can spend decades in activity and arrive nowhere. Napoleon Hill declared that the world does not reward the man who works hardest, but the man who works with definiteness of purpose. Hours alone mean nothing. Fatigue alone builds nothing. Only work bent toward a definite aim creates fortune. Look at the man trapped in busyness. He fills his day with errands. He answers every call, solves every small problem, attends every meeting. He believes he is diligent. But when asked what he has built, he has no answer. His years are consumed in circles. His aura radiates strain but not direction. He is a wheel spinning furiously, fixed to the same post. By 50, his energy is gone, but his position remains the same. Now contrast him with Abraham Lincoln. He suffered defeat after defeat, lost elections, lost popularity, lost comfort. Yet every act, every speech, every effort bent toward one great purpose, to preserve the Union and end slavery. His defeats were not wasted, they were preparation. His busyness was not scattered, it was focused. That focus gave his aura authority, and in the hour of crisis, destiny yielded to him. Consider also Henry Ford. He was not busier than other mechanics of his age. Thousands labored as hard as he did. But Ford's hours were definite. Every experiment, every thought, every sacrifice aligned with his vision of a car for the multitude. That definiteness turned his labor into empire. The busy mechanics vanished. The focused mechanic built an industry. Understand this, busyness is a tyrant. It enslaves you with noise, motion, and fatigue while robbing you of advancement. Progress is not measured by hours but by direction. Not by how much you do, but by how much you advance. Ask yourself now, do your daily acts bend toward your definite aim, or do they merely fill time? If they bend you closer, they are progress. If not, they are drift. Say this aloud, I measure by progress, not hours. Every act bends me closer to my definite aim. Repeat it until it governs your choices. Let it cut away distractions. Let it silence the false pride of busyness. Let it remind you that motion without direction is ruin. Mark this truth, 10 hours of scattered tasks make you poorer than 1 hour of decisive action. Busyness builds fatigue. Focus builds fortune. Do not boast of how hard you labor. Boast of how wisely you labor. The world respects clarity, not confusion. Men trust the aura of direction, not the fog of busyness. Infinite intelligence aligns with definiteness, not distraction. Do not waste your prime decades spinning in circles. Write your aim. Align every task to it. Cut away what does not serve it. Guard your focus as treasure. Because history does not remember the man who was busy. It remembers the man who was definite. There is a fire inside you. It burns in your ambition, your passion, your desires, your frustrations, your anger, your love. This fire is not your enemy. It is the raw fuel of creation. But here lies the danger, most men allow this fire to consume them instead of directing it. They squander passion in quarrels, drown ambition in envy, waste energy in indulgence, and mistake emotional chaos for vitality. Their flame burns hot, but it burns them down. This is the ninth fatal mistake, uncontrolled emotions. A man who cannot govern his emotions cannot govern his destiny. Napoleon Hill taught the law of transmutation, you cannot kill passion, for without fire you are lifeless wood. But you can command it. You can channel the flame into work, into persistence, into creation. The man who masters this law glows with authority. His aura blazes with steadiness. Men feel his presence, trust his strength, and follow his vision. Think of Thomas Edison. He was a man of fierce passion. But he did not scatter it in idle pleasures. He poured it into invention. Sleepless nights, endless frustrations, countless failures, his fire did not consume him. It consumed obstacles. His lamp, his phonograph, his thousands of creations were not accidents of genius. They were fire, transmuted into power. Consider Abraham Lincoln. His life was filled with grief, personal loss, political defeat, national division. That grief could have destroyed him. Yet he transmuted it into compassion, endurance, and calm authority. His fire did not flicker into bitterness. It steadied into a light that guided a trembling nation through war. Now contrast this with the man who wastes passion in vice. His strength leaks through appetite. His ambition melts into jealousy. His frustration spills into complaint. He feels alive, but he is burning down his own house. His aura is restless, chaotic, untrustworthy. Men may laugh with him in taverns, but no one entrusts him with power. By 50, his fire has consumed him, leaving only ashes where greatness might have stood. Understand this: emotions are not weakness. They are strength, but only when mastered. Anger can be transmuted into resolve. Frustration can be transmuted into persistence. Ambition can be transmuted into creation. Love can be transmuted into devotion that builds families and enterprises. The same flame that destroys can, if directed, forge steel. Say this aloud: I turn fire into force. My emotions serve my purpose, not my weakness. Repeat it until your subconscious obeys. Speak it when anger rises. Speak it when frustration tempts. Speak it when passion surges. Train your fire to bow before your purpose. Mark this truth: the man without fire is cold, but the man consumed by fire is ruined. Only the man who directs his fire becomes unstoppable. Booker T. Washington proved this. Born in chains, surrounded by poverty, limited by prejudice, he could have wasted his passion in resentment. Instead, he transmuted it into vision, leadership, and service. His fire lit paths not only for himself but for countless others. His aura radiated so brightly that even those who opposed him were compelled to support him. You must make the same choice. Do not waste your fire on appetites that leave only regret. Do not squander it on quarrels that yield nothing. Each time emotion rises, ask, how can this be transmuted into power for my purpose? For this is the law: emotions are fuel. Master them, and they propel you to greatness. Fail to master them, and they burn you into ruin. Do not let your decades end in ashes. Command your fire now. Let it blaze for creation, not destruction. Let it crown you with power, not bury you with regret. You tell yourself you are cautious. You say, I am waiting for the right moment. I must gather more proof. I must secure more advice. I must be certain before I move. You call it prudence. But the truth is harsher: it is fear wearing a mask. This is the 10th fatal mistake: indecision disguised as wisdom. Napoleon Hill warned that hesitation costs more than error. A wrong step can be corrected. No step cannot. A wrong decision may teach. No decision enslaves. Yet countless men in their 30s and 40s bury their best years behind the mask of prudence, congratulating themselves for wisdom while opportunity vanishes forever. Consider the fears that feed this mask. The fear of poverty whispers, do not risk, you might lose. The fear of criticism warns, what will they think if you fail? The fear of failure hisses, better to wait until you are certain. These voices speak softly, but they paralyze completely. Think of the soldier who sharpens his sword endlessly but never enters battle. His years vanish while enemies advance. He congratulates himself for preparation, but in truth, he is conquered without ever fighting. Such is the man who hesitates. His caution becomes his prison. His prudence becomes his chain. Now contrast him with Henry Ford. He declared he would build a car for the multitude. Financiers laughed. Scholars dismissed him. Experts said impossible. Had he waited until the laughter stopped, until the world gave him permission, his vision would have died unborn. But he decided. He acted. His decisiveness attracted belief, and belief attracted capital. His aura of decision compelled the world to follow. Understand this, the world bends more to the decisive than to the cautious. Infinite intelligence itself responds more swiftly to decisive faith than to timid prudence. Indecision is more expensive than failure. Failure teaches you what does not work and gives you strength. Indecision robs you of time, the one resource never restored. Each year surrendered to hesitation is treasure buried beyond recovery. Say this aloud: I do not confuse fear with wisdom. My decisions are law. Fortune obeys my command. Speak it until you feel your aura brighten. Speak it until hesitation feels foreign. Speak it until your subconscious accepts decisiveness as your nature. Mark this truth: men respect decisiveness, not delay. The room feels your hesitation before you open your mouth. The room feels your confidence before you speak a word. Delay dims your aura. Decision brightens it. Do not flatter fear by calling it caution. Do not waste your decades waiting for perfect safety. Safety is an illusion. There is no perfect time. There is only now. Better to risk and rise than to hesitate and rot. Better to act and correct than to wait and regret. History does not honor the cautious. It crowns the decisive. Do not let the mask of prudence steal your years. Tear it off. Name fear for what it is. Decide boldly. Act faithfully. For every fortune, every crown, every empire was built not by hesitation but by decision. You rise early. You labor long. You collect your pay on time. You call yourself diligent. You believe you are secure. Yet if every stroke of your labor is given only in exchange for the wage demanded, you have sold your soul cheaply. You have wrapped yourself in chains invisible to the eye but heavy on the spirit. This is the 11th fatal mistake: serving only wages. Napoleon Hill declared that the world pays always in proportion to the service rendered, and often more, but never before. The man who calculates narrowly, giving only what he is paid for, remains forever small. The man who gives more than he is paid for proves himself worthy of abundance, and abundance flows to him, if not from one hand, then from another. Consider the worker who says, "Why should I give more than I receive?" He withholds thought, energy, and initiative. He saves his strength until promotion comes. But promotion never comes. His aura whispers limitation, distrust, and selfishness. Life itself answers by keeping him confined. He cheats not his employer but himself. Now look at Charles M. Schwab. He began in the mills, not as president, but as a worker. Yet he poured eagerness, thought, and energy into tasks beyond his station. He solved problems others ignored. He carried burdens others avoided. Andrew Carnegie saw this radiance and lifted him from the mill floor to the presidency of an empire. Schwab's fortune was not the product of wages, but of excess service. Think also of Henry Ford. Before the world crowned him, he labored tirelessly on engines that paid him nothing. Night after night, he poured imagination into experiments no one asked for. Those unpaid hours built his aura, attracted capital, and commanded recognition. His fortune was forged not in the factory's wage but in the excess he rendered freely. Understand this: the chains of wages are subtle. They do not bind your wrists, they bind your mind. The man who labors only for pay declares by his actions, "I cannot be trusted with more." The law of increase answers by giving him exactly what he deserves: small pay, small trust, small destiny. But the man who gives more than required declares, "I am ready for greater burdens." Life responds by multiplying his opportunities. If one employer withholds reward, another appears. The law never fails. Say this aloud: I prove my worth before I am paid. I sow more than I reap, and my harvest multiplies. Repeat it until it becomes your nature. Tomorrow, when faced with a task, pour more thought, more service, more energy than is demanded. Do not wait for recognition. Recognition will come, but only after you have earned it through excess service. Mark this truth: wages are survival, but service is wealth. The man who withholds remains chained to survival. The man who gives abundantly rises to abundance. This principle governs not only business but every realm of life. The husband who gives only what he thinks required finds his home cold. The friend who calculates every favor finds himself alone. The citizen who contributes only what is compelled lives in mediocrity. But the man who gives more in marriage, in friendship, in community builds an aura of trust, loyalty, and influence. By 30 and 40, youth's excuse is gone. These are the decades when habits harden. If you build the habit of giving only what is required, you will carry it into your 50s and 60s, and it will never break. But if you cultivate the habit of excess service now, it will crown you with fortune for the rest of your life. Do not let the chains of wages confine you. Break them by proving your worth before you are paid. Sow abundantly. Serve beyond expectation. Give more than you are asked. For the man who gives more than is required is never poor. And the man who gives only what is required is never rich. You rush through your days. You labor, you argue, you plan, you chase. But you never retreat into silence. You never speak to your subconscious. You never commune with the deeper power that governs all. Outwardly, you look busy. Inwardly, your temple is empty. This is the 12th fatal mistake, neglecting the inner temple. Napoleon Hill declared that every man possesses a hidden chamber of thought, an inner court where desire communes with faith and where infinite intelligence answers. This temple is not made of stone. Its doors are silence, its altar is intention, its covenant is faith. The man who neglects it becomes hollow, ruled not by vision but by circumstance. Look at the average man in his 30s and 40s. His calendar is full, his mind scattered. He fills his days with noise and his nights with distraction. He says, I will reflect when I am older. I will build my inner life after I secure my outer life. But by then it is too late. His habits are hardened. His temple is hollow. His aura is dim. His thoughts are reactive, not commanding. Now contrast him with Booker T. Washington. Born in bondage, surrounded by poverty, opposed by prejudice, he could have been consumed by limitation. But he filled his temple daily with faith, gratitude, and purpose. He impressed his vision upon his subconscious until it became law. Infinite intelligence responded, supplying him with allies, endurance, and opportunities beyond his circumstances. His aura radiated faith so powerfully that even those who might have opposed him felt compelled to assist. Consider also Abraham Lincoln. In the darkest hours of war, when the nation fractured and allies abandoned him, he retreated often into silence. There, in his inner court, he sought guidance not from newspapers, not from politicians, but from the unseen intelligence that governs all. His calm authority in public was not natural, it was cultivated in the temple of silence. Understand this: your subconscious is always listening. If you neglect it, it feeds on fear, doubt, and criticism, and it broadcasts weakness. Men feel it, distrust you, and pass you by. But if you feed it deliberately with faith, gratitude, and definite purpose, it obeys. It builds your aura with power. It compels men and events to align with you. Say this aloud: I enter my inner court. I decree my aim. Infinite intelligence aligns the world to it. Speak it each morning when your mind is fresh. Speak it each night when your subconscious is most open. Fill your temple before the world fills it with noise. Mark this truth: riches without inner covenant are fragile. They vanish with markets and collapse with crises. But radiance built in the inner temple endures, for it flows from a source deeper than circumstance. Do not live hollow. Guard your temple fiercely. Do not allow gossip, complaint, fear, or doubt to pollute it. Fill it only with gratitude, vision, and faith. For the man with a hollow temple may appear wealthy but will always be weak. The man with a filled temple may begin in chains but will always rise with radiance. Mistake 13. Neglecting repetition in training. Weak habit of thought. You speak a desire once. You write a goal once. You whisper an affirmation once. Then you expect the world to obey. But after a week, you forget. After a month, you quit. After a year, you laugh at the foolishness of your earlier conviction. This is why your life remains unchanged. This is the 13th fatal mistake, neglecting repetition. Napoleon Hill declared that repetition is the mother of belief. The subconscious mind does not accept what you say once. It accepts only what you repeat until it becomes law. A single declaration is noise. Daily repetition is command. Without training, your thoughts remain fragile. With training, your thoughts become unbreakable habits that shape destiny. Look at the man who neglects repetition. He sets goals in January and abandons them in February. He declares change but returns to old routines within days. He experiments with new habits but quits when results delay. His subconscious learns only one truth: this man cannot be trusted. His own mind betrays him. His aura radiates inconsistency. Opportunity flees. Now look at the disciplined man. He chooses a purpose, affirms it daily, visualizes it vividly, and repeats it relentlessly. He does not tire of rehearsal. He does not excuse himself from training. He engraves success into his subconscious until it feels inevitable. His mind accepts it. His actions obey it. His destiny manifests it. Think again of Edison. His thousands of experiments were not luck but repetition. Each attempt trained his mind. Each failure reinforced his persistence. His subconscious accepted only one possibility: success. And because his belief was unshakable, invention became inevitable. Consider also athletes who train their bodies. They do not lift a weight once and expect strength. They lift again and again until muscle becomes memory. So it is with thought. You must repeat affirmations, rehearse visions, declare success daily until belief becomes instinct. Understand this: repetition is not empty ritual. It is programming. The subconscious does not judge, it accepts. It cannot tell the difference between reality and a repeated thought. If you repeat weakness, it engraves weakness. If you repeat strength, it engraves strength. Say this aloud: I repeat my purpose daily. I engrave success into my subconscious until it becomes my law. Speak it morning and night. Write it. Post it. Live it. Let your repetition drown out doubt, silence fear, and command faith. Mark this truth: a thought spoken once is fragile. A thought repeated daily becomes habit. A habit becomes character. And character shapes destiny. Do not expect fortune from one declaration. Do not drift after 1 week effort. Train your thoughts daily. For the man who neglects repetition lives in dreams. The man who repeats with persistence lives in destiny. You dream. You imagine. You speak affirmations. You even believe. Yet you stop there. You never act. You wait for fortune to knock, for proof to appear, for conditions to turn perfect. Your thoughts remain locked in your mind, glowing like lanterns that never leave the shelf. This is the 14th fatal mistake: passive thought without action. Napoleon Hill declared that faith without action is dead. Thought is the seed, but action is the soil. Without action, thought cannot take root. Without risk, belief cannot prove itself. Without steps, destiny cannot move. Look at the man who thinks but does not act. He attends lectures, reads books, writes plans. His mind is filled with ideas. But when the hour to move arrives, he delays. He analyzes. He waits. He postpones. He tells himself, one day I will begin. But one day never comes. His decades pass in preparation, but he never enters battle. His aura grows dim. His potential rots unused. Now look at Henry Ford again. He did not wait for permission. He did not wait for safety. He built his engines in barns, tested them on streets, faced ridicule, lawsuits, and financial collapse. Yet he acted. Each step multiplied his belief. Each action bent reality. His fortune was not born from thought alone but from thought turned into action. Consider also Lincoln. He did not merely believe in preserving the Union, he acted. He campaigned, spoke, wrote, and persisted through countless defeats. His thoughts were powerful, but his actions made them immortal. Understand this: passive thought is self-deception. You tell yourself you are moving forward because you are thinking. But thinking alone is stillness. Only action transforms the invisible into the visible. Action, even imperfect, is more powerful than perfect thought without movement. A wrong step can be corrected. No step cannot. Say this aloud: my thoughts command my actions. Every decision I make turns ideas into wealth. Repeat it until hesitation dissolves. Declare it until you feel your body compelled to move when your mind envisions. Mark this truth: the universe responds not to what you imagine but to what you do. Infinite intelligence does not crown idle dreamers. It crowns men who act as if their visions are law. Do not spend another year lost in preparation, drifting in fantasy, deceiving yourself with motionless thought. Act. Step. Move. Let your decisions prove your belief. For passive thought builds regret, but thought united with action builds empires. You open your mind carelessly. You allow gossip, complaint, criticism, fear, and doubt to enter freely. You treat your thoughts as an open market where anyone may plant their seeds. And so your subconscious, which never sleeps, which never argues, which accepts whatever it is given, becomes filled with weeds. This is the 15th fatal mistake: failing to guard your thoughts. Napoleon Hill declared that thoughts are things. They are not idle. They are seeds. When you allow fear and doubt into your mind, they root themselves in your subconscious. They grow silently. They choke out faith. They broadcast weakness through your aura. Others feel it, even if you say nothing. They sense your hesitation, your lack of conviction, your hidden doubt. And they withdraw their trust. Consider the man who permits fear to rule his mind. He imagines poverty. He dwells on failure. He rehearses rejection. His subconscious accepts it all. Soon he acts timidly, speaks weakly, hesitates constantly. His life proves the very fears he entertained. He calls it bad luck, but it was only poor guardianship of thought. Now look at the man who guards his thoughts like treasure. He refuses to entertain fear. He silences gossip. He rejects complaint. He does not dwell on obstacles, only on solutions. He feeds his subconscious daily with affirmations of strength, gratitude, and definite purpose. His aura radiates power. Men trust him. Opportunity yields to him. Infinite intelligence aligns with him. Think again of Edison. He confessed that many of his greatest ideas came as sudden flashes, as if whispered by a higher power. But those flashes came because he trained his subconscious to be receptive. He filled his mind with faith and persistence. He guarded it fiercely. He prepared his temple so that when infinite intelligence spoke, he could hear it. Understand this: you cannot avoid influence. The world is full of voices, full of fear, full of doubt. If you do not guard your mind, it will be polluted. If you do not command your subconscious, it will be commanded by circumstance. You must become the sentinel of your thoughts. Each morning, decree your aim. Each night, affirm your faith. Refuse to replay fear. Refuse to dwell on criticism. Refuse to imagine loss. Guard your mind as you would guard gold, for it is more precious than gold. Say this aloud: I guard my thoughts as treasure. Only faith, gratitude, and purpose live in my mind. Repeat it until it becomes instinct. Speak it until you feel strength rise whenever fear tries to enter. Declare it until your subconscious accepts no intruder but faith. Mark this truth: wealth begins not in money but in thought. Thought unguarded breeds ruin. Thought protected breeds fortune. Do not leave your temple open to thieves. Guard it fiercely. Fill it deliberately. For the man who guards his thoughts rules his destiny, but the man who neglects them becomes a slave to fear.